I had to make a guess here on where I had leave some of my reserves, which, by the way, I couldn't build anything. Every ship mattered at this point, and hope that the opponent would build on the asteroid that would respawn at the back of their space station. This move would have lost or won me the game, essentially. So if they had not built on this asteroid, that meant they have built on the middle. And if they had built on the middle, I wouldn't have had enough time to contest, and I would have lost the game. So this was make or break. I had 2 asteroids here, unable to build on. So this was it, you know, and lo and behold, hello everybody, my name is Charlie of X2, and today I wanted to show you probably one of my most intense games of Thrawn's Revenge skirmish mode I've ever done. This was in Fall of the Republic, and it was in a Playing with Fans series that we do. If you've not watched them, please definitely go through our videos. We do loads of them where I play with tons of you guys in skirmish mode on Thrawn's Revenge. And this one I really liked because it was a very similar skill level. I do have some games where like players are just better, they just know the stats of the ships one-to-one, so they can, you know, just take advantage of that, which I'm still learning. But this was a game where like it was a very mirror match in a way, and I think you guys might enjoy it too. I won't show the entire match. If you want to watch the entire match, I will timestamp it into a link in the description. But what I'll do is I'll go through the highlights and just run through some of the decisions that I made in this game and how I reacted to the opponent's play style in the game. So the opponent I'm playing against is a person called Maria or Mama in the community if you are a fan of X2. So yeah, so we started on the Atravis Madness map, which is a map that I quite like because it's a very symmetrical map in a way, and there's only 3 asteroids in the center and then a hero station at the top. So it's really good for just 1v1s in general. So as you can see, there's a lot of nebula in the center too, which prevents like a hard push from opponents just out of the middle of nowhere. They have to come in through the backline. What I'm doing here is what I usually do. I rush a carrier to go straight into the center because you can boost the engine powers, which I'm doing now, and then move fighters singularly to that point as well. And the reason I do that is because if you control A or highlight all the ships and move to the center, they'll move at the same speed of the slowest vessel. So I try to keep fighters moving on their own rather than alongside ships, so they can go into the front line first. But obviously with the carrier using boost power, it's kind of the same speed. So I use one of my carriers to immediately capture the asteroid behind and move him straight to the hero station at the top. And if you see in the minimap, I've got ships going to every single asteroid and the hero station at the top there too. This is really good just so we can get as much map control as possible, which is obviously the aim of skirmish. Asteroids are just so strong early game, so you have to do nothing else but capture them. So I get the bottom one, which is usually the case when you're playing this map. The enemy gets the top, you do on myself gets the bottom, depending on which side you play. Now I see the opponent has already got the top asteroid. I just wanted to get some vision on there to see if she had it. She did, so I pulled my fighter away and bring it to the center because we're currently fighting for that asteroid. We're also beginning to fight for the hero station at the top too. So we've got two contested points and 1 point where she has absolutely got full control over it. So I do put my fighter in the center of the asteroid here. I'll just quickly pause the video. You can see here that I put the fighter right next to the asteroid. What I do here is fighters have a very odd AI in terms of like if you want to try and keep it on the asteroid, it won't. It will follow other fighters. So keeping like the carrier right next to the asteroid means it won't be influenced by any other ships around it and just stay right there. So if there was ever a case that the opponent just forgets that they have and let the fighter leave the asteroid range, I can capture it without them realizing, or prevent them from capturing it if I do that mistake myself. So that's why I have the carrier in the center there. So there's a lot of fighting going on. The opponent brings in some hard cells, which is quite worrisome for my carrier, especially when it's in the nebula, because I lose my shields immediately. So this is a little worrying. I can see that there is quite a bit of damage being dealt just by one hard cell. So I'm just seeing what I do here. So I forget a little bit of what I do in the early game. Okay, so I've teched up immediately and started building a Captor Heavy. And whilst that's building, I do believe I move the carrier out of the nebula. So what I'm doing here is that when you move a ship right out of the nebula, it gains instant full shields again. So I was hoping that the hard cell would come into the nebula to try and get that final kill. And I got very lucky that the shield kicked in at last second. And then the Captor Heavy coming in to finish off the hard cell. So the opponent built 2 Gazantes, which are really good against my fighters. So I was worried about those. They're very tough to kill as well. But and they stand in, I think, about like 800 or 1,000 credits, depends on which mod. So definitely got the bot asteroid, so I decided to just tech up my asteroids right away for income. I've already teched up, so I don't need to tech up again. So I've got the cash to upgrade my asteroids. I'm still fighting for the hero station at the top, as you can see in the mini-map. But yeah, essentially what I'm doing is I'm trying to bring everything to the center now. Because that is super important for me to capture it. So another thing that I'm doing here is I'm building some diamond cruisers. These are really effective anti-fighters. Now, I made a bit of a guess here. I don't know how well they serve against Gazantes. I'm assuming pretty well, because you can see like they're already losing quite a bit of health here as soon as the diamond cruisers drop. So I wanted to push those in because I can see there's quite a lot of fighters on the opponent's side. I also bring my fighters back to the Captor Heavy because they were on the opponent's side of the map. So I wanted to bring the fighters back onto my side so they can't she can't drop any ships on the backline without taking too much of a risk. So that's why I brought the fighters over to my side, and I'm also building Gazantes as well, just to mirror match it a little bit. We are both playing the Confederacy here as well, which is something to take note of. So one thing to point out here is as the opponent drops in a Captor Heavy right next to mine, I kind of forced that in. I think I kind of forced that in a way that everything is on my side of the map, and the risk is obviously I don't have that asteroid protected. If the opponent can capture it, I'm kind of screwed. So what I do is I bring in some backline help against that Captor Heavy. But as you can also see, I'm starting to slowly win the fighter count match here, mostly by spamming lots of fighters with 2 C9 carriers, but also those 2 diamond carrier cruisers also doing a lot of damage to those fighters. And as you can see, the opponent hasn't got any. They had some Gazantes, which are now gone, and I've got 2 Gazantes and 2 diamond cruisers, really destroying that fighter count. And hopefully being able to put just enough damage onto that Captor Heavy. As you can see, I built another 2 hard cells, and just dropping all that damage straight onto that Captor Heavy. One thing also to note as well, that these hard cells also spawn 1 fighter, which is really effective for how much they cost. I do believe that's going to be removed in the next patch, but for now, that is super strong for the amount that you pay for it. So hopefully that's enough damage on the Captor Heavy. Now I'm going to pause here. If one thing that you might have noticed is that there was a fighter coming straight into my into my space station. I saw this, and you can see I panned the camera over to that fighter, and I knew exactly what was coming. So what the opponent was doing was that they built some smaller ships to like some hard cells to be pushed to be planted in the backline of my of my space station so they could take out that asteroid and restrict my income. So I built 2 hard cells in hopes to combat it. I see the hard cells immediately. I knew this was going to happen. I saw a Gazanti cruiser as well. So I couldn't really build fighters to combat that. I just had to build the 2 hard cells and hope that was enough. Unfortunately, in this case, it wasn't. I think by the time that was put down, I'd already had to place 4 hard cells to take out that Captor Heavy that was planted on my side. So as you can see here, I do take out the hard cells fast, but not fast enough to defend the asteroid, unfortunately. And something happens here that really frustrates me throughout this entire game that I would have probably done differently, but I'll get to that as it comes. So what happens here is the opponent won the fight at the hero station. I didn't really put any more resources to it, so they were able to build like a Captain Munificent, which is going to take out the rest of my Captor Heavy here. It wasn't able to generate enough shields, but my hard cells hopefully were going to be enough to take it out. The opponent started to build some diamond cruisers as they started to realize they're losing out on the fighter war there. I managed to take out the entire fleet in the backside here, but unfortunately the asteroid does go down, and there's only like a few remaining fighters. So I bring all of the hard cells that I built for that attack back into the center to hopefully be enough damage to take out that Munificent and push to take the asteroid. So as you can see here, I've really won the fighter war there just by the 3 C9 carriers that I built. One did get destroyed by the Munificent there, I believe, but I'm really winning the fighter war here. So which is what I should have done, is pulled those fighters back and to take out those hard cells that was placed on my side. But in my head at the time, I thought, well, I've bought these 4 hard cells. I'm just going to drag them all the way to the center. So yeah, there was just a really tough fight for this asteroid here. And I would probably say I was a little bit at a disadvantage right now because the opponent had the hero station and I had lost the backside asteroid. So I was earning less cash than the opponent at this point. I bring in the Captor Heavy on the back lines to try and scare a lot of the diamond cruisers and hard cells and the C9 carrier that was in the back on the opponent's side. For some strange reason, the opponent brings everything into the nebula, which loses their shields. So that gave me a really strong advantage. I do build 1 fighter to try and capture that back asteroid too, but we'll get to that in a second, which really annoys me. Well, actually, it's right here. So there's 3 fighters, an interceptor, 2 fighters, and a Gazanti. This was impossible to clear out at my station for a good 2 to 5 minutes, which meant I couldn't capture that asteroid. I should have bought a diamond cruiser and put it there immediately, but I didn't. I was too focused on this fight that's going on right now. So the Munificent does go down. It does take out a fair few of my fighters. As you can see here, I'm really getting annoyed by the fact that these fighters are stopping me from catching the asteroid. But yeah, so what I'm actually going to do is I retaliate by... I don't bring them to the center, sorry. I bring them to the top. And I'm able to get enough vision to take out the top asteroid to even out the income. The Captor Heavy here, taking out that diamond cruiser that got stuck in the nebula, as well as the other one. That put me at such a great advantage there. I don't know why the opponent did that. Some nebulas don't always remove shields, but in this map it does. So there's the opponent's Captor Heavy trying to intercept the one that I put on the back line. I wanted to get rid of that Munificent first, because it's a hero. I wanted it gone before I start making any sort of moves. I activate the shield boosting just to keep it alive for a bit longer. But yeah, at this point I was like, this is not looking amazing right now. I had a small win at taking out the asteroid at the top, but not great right now. But obviously, once it did the mission, you can see that I'm also taking that strike team to the back line and doing the exact same move that the opponent did to me, which is bringing an interceptor, which can survive quite a lot of firepower against the space station. And I also bring a lot of these fighters in on that Captor Heavy, the opponent one. That was actually a smart move. A lot of pressure there. So yeah, I bring the interceptor in and bring those hard cells alongside it into that asteroid field in the top left there to take out the asteroid. Still can't capture my one. So annoyed by that. I should have built a diamond cruiser ASAP, but I just didn't. I just thought it would end soon, but it didn't. Munificent goes down. My hard cells go down, but I've still got a lot of bombers here, I believe. I think they're Hyena Squadron bombers. So bringing that interceptor into the backline there. What am I doing with those hard cells at the top? They're sitting there doing nothing. There's 4 hard cells doing nothing. I've totally forgotten about them. I should have brought them into the center. It's very odd that I didn't do that. Okay, so if any of you guys play skirmish against one another, this is a brilliant tactic to use because you can get just enough vision. There you go. You can just start to see it where I can just drop them in and take out the asteroid in the backline, along with one Gazanti just in case they try to fighter spam me or like bomber spam me. Yeah, so super annoying. Still trying to win that fight. Okay, I really do that. I'm that determined to get that asteroid that I bring 6 hard cells in. Wow. I did not know that. Okay, so my other C9 carrier being taken down. 2 hard cells on the bot side taking, which is quite frustrating. Did I capture the top asteroid? I did. Oh wow. Okay, very interesting. Or maybe I didn't. I might have missed that. But it looks like no, there's fighting going on. I haven't captured it. But yeah. Oh, I'm trying to build on it, but I can't right about now. Okay. Okay, so I successfully take out the asteroid, and I'm just trying to make an escape now at this point. Just try and get as many hard cells to survive and go back up to the top asteroid to destroy it. I mean, I wasn't really thinking about it at this point because I wasn't actually trying to capture the asteroid, but if you can waste 850 credits of the opponent to build for then you to destroy it, is worth it, you know, rather than you building on it and then them destroying it. But that wasn't my thought process at the time. Still unable to capture that goddamn asteroid in the back. There's still some fighters there. Still have fighter control in the middle side. Nobody's captured that asteroid yet, even though we are a good 10 minutes onwards in to trying to capture that asteroid. So only 1 hard cell seems to survive that escape, unfortunately. And I do lose the bottom asteroid here too. So what has happened is the opponent has lost all asteroids. And I have as well, because the bot side asteroid gets destroyed also. So one thing to take note here is that when you lose all your asteroids, you lose both levels of your asteroid text. You have to redo it all over again. If you lose all asteroids. This is absolutely devastating to your income. As you can see in my income right now, nobody can afford to buy an upgrade. And so what had effectively happened is that we stagnated. You know, we destroyed all asteroids on the map to the point that the only thing important now was to make sure nobody got asteroids on either side of the team. Teching up, building meant nothing. If the opponent was to build an asteroid, they would probably win the game. That was what was going to happen here. So I'd never really played like that before. I'd never had that type of matchup before. So this was really interesting to me. A lot of mobility in ships going all the way around the map that you don't really... I'd never really experienced in a Empire War game. Usually it was like 1 or 2... points of conflict in the map, and whoever won those conflicts ended up kind of like winning the game per se. But here, both myself and the opponent had a lot of map control and map movement, and there was ships all over the place that had a specific reason to be there. So here I can't afford to build on the top asteroid. I'd secured it. Nobody captured the middle asteroid yet. and the bottom asteroid had been rebuilt, but nobody could capture it. So I had to make a guess here on where I had to leave some of my reserves, which, by the way, I couldn't build anything. So every ship mattered at this point. So I made a risk of putting 3 of my hard cells in that nebula at the top there, and hope that the opponent would build on the asteroid that would respawn at the back of their space station. So I kept them there. I waited until they had enough cash to build. Heavy at the bottom here just to counteract those 2 hard cells that took out the asteroid. I'm starting to lose the mid fight here now. As you can see, a lot of fighters on the opponent team now, slowly winning that fight as I was focusing on other things. I tried to bring down 1 hard cell to try and finish off that Captor Heavy. I don't think I was successful enough, unfortunately. That was a bad move on my part. So here was the risk, because I didn't know if they were going to build on the back of their enemy station or they were going to build in the center. If I made a wrong call and I brought those hard cells that are currently in the top asteroid belt here, the ones here, this move would have lost or won me the game, essentially. So if they had not built on this asteroid, that meant they have built on the middle. And if they had built on the middle, I wouldn't have had enough time to contest, and I would have lost the game. So this was make or break. I had 2 asteroids here, unable to build on. So this was it, you know. And lo and behold, they did build on it. And I was like, amazing, thank you. Oh my goodness. So they were going to lose out on that asteroid right after building on it. So yeah, and I bring a interceptor in just to see if they built on the center, and thankfully they did not, even though they had full control over it. So the reason, again, they didn't build on this one, they only had enough cash to build on 1 asteroid. I had to kind of like make that figure out the cash that they had. So yeah, I just had enough cash built up over time to build on the asteroid in the back there as well. So what the opponent should have done is that they should have taken some of the resources in the middle, brought it down to the bottom center of the map, and slowly bring it to the backside of my space station to destroy my asteroid again. Pretty much do what I just did here to try and keep it at an even playing field, but they didn't. What they did is that they waited for enough cash to reserves to build up again, to build in the center, which I also destroy again, because I have enough cash now, because I've got a secured asteroid. Here you can see they built on the center, and I was like, that's not going to happen. So I bring my Captor Heavy through the nebula to destroy it. And this was quite risky as well, in a way, because this is 3,200 credits. If it didn't work out, I was going to be 3,200 credits down. They could have probably had enough resources to take the bottom asteroid as well. But thankfully it did work out. It was just enough to destroy it. And I think the opponent here, as you can see, these fighters move up into the center as well. I believe the opponent knew this was going to happen, so they were going to try and counterattack it. But thankfully, the Captor Heavy doing quite a lot of damage here. It was enough. So I build on the top asteroid as well. That was the first thing I did once I got an income. But yeah, thankfully that was enough damage. And because they moved their fighters into the center to try and protect it, it allowed me control of the bottom asteroid, which I was going to probably get in the next couple of seconds. So here I went from 0 asteroids to 3 just because of that move in the top left of the mini map that we discussed about earlier. So when I mentioned this was make or break, this decision was going to make me or break me in this game, here's why. You know? So after I captured this 3rd asteroid, it was pretty much game over. You know, at this point it was done. I try and move my Captor Heavy out. I try and do the same thing again. It's about to be destroyed, but the shields immediately come back on as soon as you come out of the nebula, giving you effectively half your health back in an instant. I don't know if it was enough to get out, though. I forget. I think it does get destroyed either way, but at least it keeps the opponent focused on that for a little bit longer. I try to bring in my fighters to defend it. Oh, it does survive. Yeah. Okay. So that's great. I mean, it's an almost dead Captor Heavy, but it's still a Captor Heavy at the end of the day. It is, for a match of this level, I think it matters. All ships matter, no matter how nearly dead it is. So yeah, I've got a full income coming in again. I start rebuilding my asteroids. I don't care about doing anything else apart from just increasing revenue. I do suspect that the opponent will have enough cash to build again. I assume they built again on the back asteroid. That's why I was thinking, should I start building some hard cells, bring it into the backside again to destroy the asteroid on the back side of the space station once more, to fully eliminate all form of income. I believe they didn't. I believe that it was... I bring the hard cells in, realise they haven't built on it, and try to retreat. But I do lose some cash on that decision. But I had to do it anyway. You know, I had to make sure that they were definitely not building an asteroid. So, yeah. 3,000 credits now. Are looking pretty good. I look to start moving everything into the center, secure that last asteroid in the center there, and probably start making my move to win. So here what I'm doing is I'm just building in another diamond cruiser for those fighters. There's a lot of stuff in the center that I want to just remove. And here I mention, of course, they haven't built on the asteroid here. I can't click on it, I can't target it, which indicates that they have not built on it. So I try to retreat, but unfortunately I do believe I lose about like 1,500 to 1,800 credits worth of hard cells there. But again, a decision I had to make. Do I tech up or do I build a recusant first? Okay, I believe I built the recusant because I was focusing on... There was a lot of diamond cruisers and hard cells in the nebula there, trying to hold on to that center asteroid. Here I'm trying to make a retreat, but it doesn't look like it's working. They do build on the center asteroid this time, instead of the one at the back. So that's probably why I built the recusant here, so I can attack it from a long range, not worry about these hard cells and diamond cruisers to focus it, because a recusant is a very glass cannon type vessel. It can attack from very far away, do strong amounts of damage, but if you have any ships come into close range on it, it's as effectively as weak as a as a carrier. So here I am targeting the asteroid. These two Captor Heavies are focusing on the hard cells here. The diamond cruiser focusing on the fighters on those two Captor Heavies. I rebuild the asteroids to tech level 2, and this recusant destroys asteroid yet again. One of my Captor Heavies do go down, but thankfully it's enough for me to just clear out the rest of what the opponent had as a fleet in the center. I just wanted to absolutely make sure that I secure the win, so I just try and destroy every ship the opponent has first, before making my move to win the game. Also using whatever hard cells I had at the top or survived that push, come in to try and attack from the back end as well. So here I finish my tech level 3 upgrade, and I just start building a Providence. This is just to completely wipe out all forms of fighters and all forms of hard cells and diamond cruisers. Providences are a very good all-rounder ship for anti-fighter, for damage, for tankiness, with its active ability as well. Which isn't seen in Thrawn's Revenge, but it is seen in Fall of the Republic, which is to boost shield powers. So I just built that just as an absolute, like, secure that, you know, we can take it down. For some reason, the opponent builds on the asteroid in the center again, which is really crucial considering how low their income is right now. So they lose almost 2,000 credits worth of building on asteroids this game. Which adds up, I think. I think it, you know, it definitely does add up. So yeah, here the Providence just doing its job to wipe out everything in the center, the Corvettes, the hard cell, the diamond cruiser, and the remaining fighters. And then I capture the asteroid and then start building my fleet to win the game. So coming into the final bits of the game here, I've got the fleet ready. I'm building a fleet, I hope, to to finish this off. Yeah, I do. I build a lot of recusants here just for long range damage. The opponent does build a Omni support vessel just to try and heal the space station and delay the inevitable. Interesting way of going about it. I do build a iron cannon to try and take it out. In the end, I don't use it, even though I had full purpose to use it. But yeah, so I bring in the recusants to destroy the Omni vessel. The first one did worry me, just purely on the basis of if they're trying to delay the inevitable, they may be building a strike fleet to take out my asteroids on the bottom or the top side, which would hopefully maybe give them just a little tiny bit of leverage to try and counterattack my fleet. Just purely on the basis that they can delay me destroying their space station. But so I wanted to make sure it's gone first before I started attacking the space station. Didn't want to take any risks at this point, because the opponent obviously displayed a lot of ingenuity in their positioning, their fleet builds, and more. So I didn't want to take any chances to rush a win. So here comes more recusants, some diamond crew, one diamond cruiser just to handle the rest of the fighters there. I must have been building a lot of recusants here. And the opponent did say, what if I still lost? Would that be funny or what? That worried me, you know, so I started building some stuff just in case they went in for a backline strike, but they had no income, you know. But knowing me, I was a little worried either way. So yeah, just more recusants at this point. I could have teched up for the bulwarks, but I just kept on using the recusants. I think it was enough. There was no need to wait out another tech level. The Omni vessel goes down any second now. Yeah, there it goes. And then we just start attacking the space station. Coming into the final stretches here, the opponent did put another Omni vessel, which was just quickly wiped out, and then just the final shots from I think about like 10 recusants. Yeah, there was a lot of recusants here. I have a few hard cells just to maximize damage. The opponent did try and build some hard cells and carriers to just elongate it as long as possible, but you know, and another Omni support vessel, but by then it was too little, too late. And there you have it, guys. That is probably one of the most intense games of Thrawn's Revenge, or Fall of the Republic Skirmish that I've ever had in my life. Yeah, I honestly, this is why I really like Skirmish, just because it's like a very different play style to how you would play Empire War in general, because you're playing against a lot of AI systems in Galactic Conquest, and I have played a few Galactic Conquest here and there myself. The reason I keep gravitating towards Skirmish is because it's very fast paced. It very much relies on the positioning of ships, your fleet construction, asteroids, map control. There's just so many aspects and so many fights that you have to keep an eye on, because it's not just a one-on-one fight here, which you would get a lot of in Galactic Conquest. There's a lot of fights happening in lots of different parts of the map that you have to keep an eye on, and it's a lot of micromanaging in a short amount of time in a real-time strategy game. And I think that does definitely get ignored quite a lot on, and I wish there was a lot more to it, because when you're playing against people in a very similar skill level, it can be very, very like high energy, very, very intense, and I really like that. And this is why this is probably one of my most intense games of Empire at War that I've played yet. So guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you liked me talking over games like these. If you like more of this, definitely hit that like button so I can get an idea of if you like this type of content. If you don't, and if you haven't subscribed already, guys, definitely hit that subscribe button and hit that bell notification, because it really goes a long way. It really means a lot to us that you take time out of your day to watch videos like these. But other than that, I have been Charlie of X2. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.